Over the years, several young talents get called generational, and unfortunately, many never truly live up to the hype. However, when it comes to UConn's guard Paige Bueckers, she is one of a kind. In a world where Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are the faces of women's basketball, she's in a league of her own. A superstar in the making, at least according to many legends of women's basketball. So exactly how good is Paige Bueckers? Back in March 2024, one of the most respected voices in women's college basketball and the sport as a whole, longtime UConn head coach Gino Arima made the audacious statement when he called Paige,
"We have the best player in America."
The best player in the whole of America. Many could claim that Arima said this because he's her coach. However, this is what WNBA legend and the greatest women's college basketball player, Diana Taurasi, had to say when she first saw Paige Bueckers in her first year of college.
The first game I watched her play, I watched the first quarter, and I told Penny, and then after the game, I text Coach Arima, and I said she's the best player in basketball already.
What Taurasi saw was a player who gets her teammates involved, a college rookie whose vision is unlike anyone else. Taurasi saw a guard who could do it on both ends of the court, who could block a pass at her end and then weave the ball through defenders to reach an open teammate just in time for the perfect shot. I mean, there's a reason she won every single award she was eligible for as a rookie in college, becoming the first freshman to win a major National Women's College Player of the Year award, 4 in total: the AP Player of the Year, Naismith College Player of the Year, USBWA Women's National Player of the Year, and the John R. Wooden Award. Not many #1 recruits in the country live up to expectations, but Paige Bueckers exceeded them in just her first year of college basketball. Some would say it was expected, but trust me, not like this. Paige Buckets, as she's famously known, started playing basketball at the age of 5. Up until 7th grade, she was coached by her father, and at that time, she was already playing for the 10th grade and junior varsity basketball teams at Hopkins High School in Minnetonka. Well, fast forward to high school, and in her freshman debut for Hopkins High School, she scored 28 points, dished out 4 assists, and had 4 steals. As a freshman, Paige Bueckers averaged 20.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.5 steals, and 4.1 assists per game, leading her team to a 31-1 record. Her sophomore year was even better as she improved her stats, averaging 22.3 points, 6.8 assists, and 5.9 rebounds per game, while guiding Hopkins to a 28-4 record. That same year, she made history when she became the first sophomore in 34 years to be named Star Tribune Metro Player of the Year. As a junior, she led Hopkins to an unbeaten 32-0 record, averaging 24.4 points, 5.1 assists, 4.9 rebounds, and 4.6 steals per game. And in that season, she hit 2,000 career points and even had a 43-point game. In her senior year of high school, Paige Bueckers once again led Hopkins to another unbeaten season, extending the team's consecutive winning streak to 62 wins. She averaged 21.4 points, 9.4 assists, 5.4 steals, and 5 rebounds per game, and for the 3rd consecutive year was named Star Tribune Metro Player of the Year. She was also named Gatorade Female High School Athlete of the Year, Gatorade National Player of the Year, Naismith Prep Player of the Year, and Morgan Wooden National Player of the Year. She finished high school as Hopkins' all-time leader in points, assists, and steals, and without a doubt, a 5-star recruit out of high school, ranked the #1 player in the 2020 class by ESPN. You know, a testament to how good she was in high school is the fact that every single coach whose team faced her had nothing but admiration for her. Molly Casper, the Eastview coach, recalled facing her in high school when she scored 23 points in the first half. "I remember being so defeated. Your heart's just like, okay, I don't know what else we can do in that moment. I flat out told them she's gonna be in the WNBA one day. And I was like, that's okay. So when she hits a tough shot in your face, look at her and say, nice shot, and turn around," said Casper. Stillwater coach Willie Taylor also had high praises for her, explaining that Bueckers reads opposing teams' plays like a defensive back. "Paige jumps the play like a defensive back," Taylor said. "That's not coaching. That's just a kid that's just got that desire, fire, and actually the God-given tools to make plays like that." Farmington Tigers head coach Liz Carpentier called her the best high schooler out of Minnesota. Because all parts of her game are so smooth and developed, Carpentier said. The thing that sets her apart is really her competitiveness. Her game mentality is at the highest level. When asked about Paige Bueckers, her retired high school coach Brian Cosgriff called her Plan P and likened her to Michael Jordan. "It's like asking Phil Jackson, what's it like being Michael Jordan's coach?" said Brian Cosgriff. Or asking Gino Arima, "What's it like being Diana Taurasi's coach?" I once heard Gino say that the difference in the game was, I had Diana Taurasi and they didn't. And that's kind of the way it was with Paige. We always had Plan A going into a game. And if that didn't work, we called it Plan P. Get the ball to Paige and let her do her thing. Well, fast forward to her first year at UConn, and now college coaches had to face the brunt of playing Paige buckets. As a freshman, Bueckers ranked 11th nationally in total points and 6th in total assists, leading UConn to Big East regular season and tournament titles before a trip to the Final Four. In her first year in college, she immediately became her team leader, averaging 20 points on 52.4% shooting and 46.4% behind the arc, 5.8 assists, 4.9 rebounds, and 2.3 steals per game. Her 168 assists were the most by a freshman in UConn's history. Another testament to how good Bueckers is the fact that there is no debate that Paige Bueckers' freshman season is one of the best in UConn and NCAA history. This is a team that has had generational talents like Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, and Brianna Stewart. Unfortunately, one reason there is not yet a general consensus that she is the best in UConn's history is because Bueckers hasn't always been healthy. There are a lot of ifs regarding what she could have accomplished if she had been healthy for most of her college career. In her sophomore year of college, she played only 17 games. She started the season recovering from surgery on her right ankle to repair an osteochondral defect, joint damage involving the bone and cartilage. When she finally made her debut, the UConn guard exploded for a career-high 34 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, ultimately matching the program's record for points in a season opener set by Carrie Bascom in 1989. Unfortunately for her, she got injured a month later. She was forced to miss her entire junior season due to an ACL injury. In 3 years, Paige Bueckers has suffered 2 major knee injuries, and it's a miracle she's back. Not just back though, but better. Since her return, Buckets has tied Maya Moore as the fastest player in UConn history to reach 1,000 career points, doing so in 55 games. In the regular season, she had her best season yet, as she averaged 21.9 points on 53% shooting, 5.2 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 2.2 steals, and 1.4 blocks. Her assists compared to her amazing rookie season dipped, but her playmaking was efficient. Well, one plausible explanation for why her assists dipped is that Bueckers is no longer the lead guard. Due to UConn's long list of injuries, she was forced to be the main pure scoring threat. Bueckers' ability to work without the ball in her hands allowed UConn to play her alongside KK Arnold and Nika Moule, who had to function as creators. And being the generational talent that she is, she adapted during the regular season to accommodate the skills of UConn's roster. Anyway, during the postseason, Paige Bueckers averaged 27.9 points, 8.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 3.1 steals, and 2.6 blocks leading up to the Final Four. Before the Final Four loss to Caitlin Clark's Iowa, she was on a streak of 7 consecutive 20-point games, the second longest run by a UConn player in the past 25 seasons. Offensively, you can't argue that Paige Bueckers is not a phenomenal player, and this is despite her being very unselfish. Nevertheless, her defensive contributions can't be underestimated. At 5'11", Bueckers led the Huskies in blocks and steals per game. Her 4.3 defensive rebounds per game are second only to Aaliyah Edwards. In major conferences, Bueckers is just one of 6 players to average at least 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block per game. And among them, only 6'2" Juju Watkins blocked more shots than the UConn guard. You should know, her defensive stats are very impressive because the Huskies lost their starting center, Dorka Juhas, to the WNBA. So Bueckers had to step up, and boy, did she step up for the team. Paige Bueckers is by far one of the most complete female basketball players ever to grace the game. And even though injuries slowed her down for years, she's still the star she was always meant to be.
As the 25 WNBA draft approaches, the basketball world is buzzing with anticipation for UConn's sensational guard, Paige Bueckers. But before she even steps onto a WNBA court, Bueckers is already making waves with a groundbreaking move that has fans and analysts talking. Imagine the shock when, on a regular Friday, it was announced that Bueckers would be joining the newly formed Unrivaled basketball league. This isn't just another league. This is a revolutionary shift in women's sports. And Bueckers is right at the heart of it. Paige Bueckers took to social media to express her excitement about joining the Unrivaled league. "Blessed and grateful to be a part of this amazing league," Bueckers posted. "To take an active role in the growth of women's sports is a dream come true. Excited for the future, it's just the beginning." This move is not just a career choice for Bueckers, but a statement about her commitment to advancing women's sports. The Unrivaled League, a 3x3 basketball league, offers an alternative to WNBA players who typically go overseas to play during the WNBA offseason. Founded by New York Liberty star Breanna Stewart and Minnesota Lynx star Napheesa Collier, Unrivaled is set to revolutionize women's basketball. The league will launch in Miami, Florida in January 2025, perfectly timed during the WNBA offseason. Unrivaled boasts an impressive roster of players, including Kahlia Copper, Angel Reese, Kelsey Plum, Arike Ogunbowale, Jackie Young, Ryan Howard, Jewel Lloyd, and Chelsea Gray. Paige Bueckers' commitment to Unrivaled is particularly noteworthy, as she is the first current non-WNBA player to join the league. This highlights her forward-thinking approach and dedication to the sport. Before joining Unrivaled, Paige Bueckers has some unfinished business at UConn. She opted to return for her extra year of eligibility instead of entering the 2024 WNBA draft, making her a favorite for the #1 overall pick in 2025. Last season, Bueckers demonstrated her prowess by averaging a career-best 21.9 points, 5.2 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 2.2 steals, and 1.4 blocks per game. Her performance solidified her status as one of the top players in college basketball. In a groundbreaking move, Paige Bueckers signed an unprecedented NIL deal with Unrivaled, making her the first NCAA athlete to gain ownership equity in a league. According to The Athletic's NBA insider, Shams Charania, Unrivaled promises the highest average pay in professional women's basketball, surpassing even the WNBA. This deal positions Bueckers at the forefront of a new era in women's sports, emphasizing player compensation and ownership. Unrivaled was announced by WNBA stars Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier in July 2023. The league features a 10 to 15% ownership pool for players and has been aggressively recruiting top-tier talent. With 6 franchises and a total of 30 players, the league aims to offer an average salary of $250,000, slightly above the WNBA Supermax of $241,000. Women's sports is on such a rise, and it feels like everyone is benefiting from that except the women in the sport, Collier said via The Athletic. "We're trying to change that and also create generational wealth for these women." Unrivaled is founded on the principle that players deserve compensation and ownership reflecting their value. Paige Bueckers' involvement in Unrivaled is set to have a profound impact on women's basketball. Her decision to join a new league before even entering the WNBA speaks volumes about her vision for the future of the sport. Bueckers is not just a phenomenal player, but a trailblazer advocating for greater recognition and compensation for female athletes. As Paige Bueckers prepares for her final collegiate season at UConn and gears up for the 2025 WNBA draft, her journey with Unrivaled will be closely watched by fans and aspiring athletes alike. Her commitment to advancing women's basketball and her historic NIL deal with Unrivaled positions her as a key figure in the evolving landscape of women's sports. When the 24 WNBA season resumes on August 15th, a few teams are poised for major draft implications, including the Los Angeles Sparks. The concept of tanking has become a strategic move for teams looking to acquire top talent to expedite a rebuild. For the Sparks, the gem of the 2025 WNBA draft is undoubtedly UConn guard Paige Bueckers. As it stands, the teams with the best lottery odds include the Sparks, Washington Mystics, Dallas Wings, and Atlanta Dream. However, the post-Olympic break could shift these odds. The Dream and Wings are both capable of making a run for the playoffs, while the Sparks may focus on setting their sights on the draft. The Sparks' dream scenario involves securing the best odds for the number 1 pick to select Paige Bueckers. The Sparks have had a challenging season, with point guard being a crucial position of need. While players like Ari McDonald have shown promise, the addition of a true starting point guard like Bueckers could transform the team. Bueckers is widely regarded as the top point guard in the nation and has made a remarkable recovery from previous injuries. Her ability to handle the ball and playmake would be invaluable for the Sparks, who already have future stars in Cameron Brink and Rickea Jackson. The trio of Bueckers, Brink, and Jackson could be one of the best young cores in the league. While securing a top draft pick is crucial, internal development is equally important for the Sparks. Rickea Jackson has emerged as a dark horse Rookie of the Year candidate, averaging 11.4 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 1.3 assists in the first half of the season. Her continued development is vital for the team's future success. The Sparks have been involved in several close games this season, but have struggled to close them out. Gaining valuable experience and building a winning culture will attract free agents and contribute to the team's long-term success. Now let's talk about Caitlin Clark and how she compares to Paige Bueckers. Caitlin Clark has taken the 2024 season by storm, establishing herself as one of the premier players in women's basketball. She's averaging an astonishing 31.7 points, 8.9 assists, and 7.3 rebounds per game. Known for her scoring ability, especially from long range, she's a powerhouse, no doubt about it. On the other hand, Paige Bueckers is also a formidable talent, averaging 21.9 points, 3.8 assists, and 5.1 rebounds per game. She has chosen to remain in college for another year, which gives her additional time to develop her game and possibly step into a more prominent role in women's basketball after Clark's departure. While Clark's stats might be flashier, Bueckers is playing the long game, focusing on honing her skills and preparing for a bigger impact in the future. Their playing styles differ significantly. Clark is a sharpshooter, lighting up the scoreboard with her three-pointers. Bueckers, however, has a more versatile offensive game. She can score, but she's also a facilitator, making plays for her teammates and enhancing the overall team dynamic. This versatility might give Bueckers an edge in the professional realm, where adaptability can be crucial. Media attention has been heavily skewed towards Clark, but Bueckers has expressed a desire to share the spotlight with other players. She emphasizes the importance of promoting a broader range of talent in women's basketball, which suggests that her focus may not solely be on filling Clark's shoes, but rather on contributing to the sport's growth as a whole. This mindset is commendable and could endear her to fans and players alike. Both players have already made significant impacts on their teams in the sport, with Bueckers aiming to continue this trend in the upcoming season. Their mutual respect and friendship, having played together on the USA U19 team, further highlight that the narrative is not just about rivalry, but also about collaboration and shared success in women's sports. While Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark are both elite players, their distinct playing styles set them apart. Clark is known for her aggressive, high-volume scoring approach, averaging 31.7 points per game and never hesitating to take shots, even from long range. Bueckers, while capable of scoring, is more of a team player who excels in playmaking and setting up her teammates. She prefers to have everyone appear on the scoreboard rather than dominating it herself. Clark's style is more individualistic, often requiring her to have the ball in her hands to create opportunities for herself and others. This is partly due to Iowa's offensive strategy that relies heavily on her abilities. Bueckers tends to play within a more team-oriented system at UConn, distributing the ball and creating opportunities for her teammates. Clark is particularly adept at creating her own shots, even when facing tight defense. She's known for taking and making tough shots. Bueckers, while skilled, has sometimes struggled to create space when tightly defended in big games. Clark often faces tougher defensive pressure, with teams game planning specifically to stop her. Despite this, she still manages to put up impressive numbers. Bueckers, while also a focus of defensive attention, may not face the same level of constant pressure as Clark due to UConn's more balanced offensive approach. Clark's game is more centered around her ability to score in high volumes while still maintaining a high assist rate. Bueckers adapts her game based on her teammates' performance and the overall team needs, sometimes taking a back seat in scoring to facilitate for others. Clark is known for taking more risks with her shots, attempting difficult plays that can lead to spectacular outcomes. Bueckers tends to play a more controlled game, focusing on efficiency and team play rather than individual heroics. It's important to note that these differences in playing style are not just personal choices, but also reflect the offensive systems of their respective teams. Clark's high-scoring approach is crucial for Iowa's success, while Bueckers' more balanced style fits well with UConn's traditionally team-oriented play. Both approaches have proven effective, with each player making significant impacts in their own ways. In conclusion, while Paige Bueckers has the potential to become a leading figure in women's college basketball, her approach and aspirations suggest she aims to carve out her own identity rather than simply being the next Caitlin Clark. The future of women's basketball looks promising, with both players contributing to its evolution. In summary, Paige Bueckers is not just making headlines, she is making history. Her unprecedented move to join the Unrivaled League and her impending entry into the WNBA signal a new era for women's basketball. As the Sparks strategize for the second half of the 2024 WNBA season, securing the #1 pick and fostering internal development are key to building a competitive team. The combination of Bueckers' talent and the Sparks' young core promises an exciting future for women's basketball.